everybody. Welcome to another live stream. I'm glad I was able to get one up today. Sorry about yesterday, but I got a lot of content up today. Now for tomorrow, the content that's on deck is a review for Coming to America, Coming to America 2. And then also I'm trying to do a Raya spoiler review. That's what I have planned for tomorrow. And then, of course, the final episode of Wandavision. I'm so scared. The director's like, I hope people aren't disappointed. I'm not going to write this episode off till I see it. I'm hoping that it's going to be just great. I hear that at least one MCU character will show up. Hey, Martin Anderson. But I hope there are other great surprises. But thank you, everybody, for joining me. This turned out to be a pretty darn good lineup of stories. So we're going to have a great time. We're going to go through them. Then you can ask me anything you'd like for about the final 10 minutes of the show. But I have a hard out at 5:45 because at 6 o'clock, Eric Davis from Fandango has invited me to be on his Twitter Spaces conversation. It's very cool. On Monday, he talked to Rob Liefeld. On Tuesday, he talked to Boss Logic. Today, he's talking to me. So I think that's very nice. And we're going to talk about WandaVision and the Snyder Cut. And basically, hey, Alfonso, the way it works is that I'll tweet out the link, and you have to have the Twitter app on your iPhone, apparently. It doesn't work on Android just yet. Twitter. But anyway, if you have an iPhone and the Twitter app, you just click on the link, you listen in like a radio show, and then for the second half of it, about half an hour in, he's going to take questions from you. You'll be able to ask questions in your own voice, like you're on a phone call, and you'll be able to ask questions, and it's going to be really fun. Also, if you go in there, you can see everybody who's in the room. So you can't secretly listen in. I'll be able to see that you're there. All right, so just for those of you who like to be... incognito, just a heads up, because sometimes I don't like to be seen. I popped into the first two and I was like, oh my God, I'm right in here. That was like, I was caught off guard. So I want to give you the same warning. The link, he doesn't post it till right before, so I will retweet the link on Twitter right before we get started. All right, so that's why I have to be out at 5:45 so I can promote that. All right, I got to do my part as the guest. I got to promote it. All right, so let's get through these stories. All right, so first story of the day. Boop. So, Alamo Drafthouse had a very scary headline this morning, and they filed for bankruptcy. And I saw a lot of people go, oh no, not Alamo Drafthouse. I love it so much. Don't worry, Alamo Drafthouse isn't going anywhere. In fact, for many people, it'll even get better. Some of you won't feel that it's better, but I feel that it will be better. Sean, I'm glad my advice was helpful to you. Sean is applying for a casting director job at the Old Vic Theatre in London, which is a pretty significant job, so I gave him some advice. All right, so anyway, back to the story. So Alamo Drafthouse, it's interesting. Alamo Drafthouse had to file Chapter 11 bankruptcy, even though in 2019, they had their best year ever. Oh, the pandemic's a bitch. So they had their best year ever in 2019, but now they're at the point where they had to actually sell the company to not only one of their current investors, but somebody else came on board instead. Oh, that's interesting. LaMattia doesn't know what Alamo Drafthouse is. So Alamo Drafthouse is a movie theater company, and it started the whole, very nice food to your, a waiter service to your table situation. It's mostly in Texas. They also made news because even though Texas is dropping all their coronavirus protocol, Alamo Drafthouse said that they're going to continue to enforce it because they're following the CDC and not the Texas government. So Alamo Drafthouse has been in the headlines a lot. So it's a really nice theater chain, and they're also famous, I'm sure you've heard of this, for their no talking policy. If you talk or if you're on your cell phone, they'll give you one warning, but then if you continue, they'll actually kick you out of the theater. They're the only theater chain that enforces that. They put a warning beforehand. I forgot to turn my heat off again. I'm sorry. They put a warning beforehand, and it's like a big thing, and it's pretty funny, and I really think it's great. And they were trying to open one in New York City for a while now, so I've been like, hurry up and open it. So I was annoyed that it got delayed yet again. I mean, they have one in Brooklyn, which is very popular, but Alamo Drafthouse was just on the cusp of being a big movie theater chain, and then the pandemic happened. So anyway, the reason they're filing Chapter 11 is not to go out of business, but so they have a little mobility as they get restructured as a company by their new owners. Now, and they're going to sell off a few of their underperforming locations. So that sucks if you live near one of those, but for the most part, I feel that Alamo Drafthouse is going to become more of a mainstream style theater. Less art house, more iPic, which is largely based off of the Alamo Drafthouse model. iPic, CMX out of Mexico, those are based on Alamo Drafthouse, but they, I think, are doing a little bit better because they don't have some of the things that weigh Alamo Drafthouse down, and that's their more artistic sensibility. Now, I know some of you will be like, no, not the artistic sensibility, but I feel like that drains Alamo Drafthouse of their revenue. You know, they have stuff like they sponsor, like they have for a long time, they sponsored, like, what was it, like birth, death movies or whatever, that was them. They always have like these artsy posters that they commission. They have like events. They have like screening parties. I think that there's not a huge stream of revenue in that, even though it does build customer loyalty. But I honestly believe that you can still build customer policy on the no talking policy alone. You know, quite frankly, I feel that that would get a lot of people to like Alamo Drafthouse alone. So I think they just opened one in Los Angeles, which is very successful. And I think the Alamo Drafthouse will continue to expand, but I think it'll change a little bit in the way that it's handled. Tim League is staying on for now, but I suspect he'll probably be phased out. It's usually the case when somebody sells their company, because people have their own ideas for what they want to do with it. And also, he's been a little bit problematic, so I mean, I don't know if they're going to keep him on. They actually just moved him from CEO. They got a new CEO over the summer, and that was Shelley Taylor, and she comes from Starbucks, actually, which I think is pretty interesting. She comes from Starbucks, and I think Starbucks is a good match to the Alamo Drafthouse brand. It has that art house chic to it, but it's still extremely mainstream. So I think it's great. I think they're a wonderful theater, and I really like them to get a Manhattan. They have the space. They were building it. I hope that they're still planning to. I'm not quite sure what happened because of the pandemic. But anyway, they're not going out of business, but I think they're going to change a little bit. That's right, Michael, you called it. Bigger and blander. But you know what? That's how you make money, because you don't want to be, you want to make sure you're not too offensive to anybody. And also, you want to attract the biggest audience possible. I think that such a strong focus on art house and classic movies just isn't a good way to build up your revenue model, quite frankly. So, like Starbucks became more commercial and it's done quite well. I'm glad that some of you agree that Starbucks is a good comp for Alamo. I think it's going to go really well. It's a great theater company, and I think that they're going to cut off all the little things that are holding them back from really being successful. I know that some of you will find that appalling, but that's how business works. So if you want to be in business, this is what's going to happen to you. All right, so that's the first story of the day. The second story of the day, hold on. Boop. So the second story of the day is that the Pinocchio movie is rounding out its cast aggressively, which must mean they're going to be filming very soon. And I think this sounds excellent. In fact, it sounds so good, I'm a little bit surprised that they're still going to put it on Disney+, which just goes to show you how aggressive the streaming wars are becoming, that they're not only willing to pay for such a big cast, but that this cast is willing to do it. So, Robert Zemeckis is directing, as you know, and Tom Hanks is starring as Geppetto. And Luke Evans recently joined the cast as the coachman who drives the coach to Pleasure Island, where you get turned into a donkey. It's going to be really cool. Robert Zemeckis, I think, should knock this out of the park. But, so they've cast some more people. So, he's not pictured here, but remember the little boy from Bly Manor, Miles, that really creepy little boy? He's going to voice Pinocchio. He also was recently in Flora and Ulysses from Disney, also from Disney+. So I guess that they're starting to invest in him. But he was creepy in both things. So I think he's a really interesting choice. Jico just said that he thinks Robert Zemeckis' Pinocchio will be dark. And I think that with Benjamin Evan Ainsworth voicing Pinocchio, yeah, it's going to get dark. He is not a cute kid. Then Joseph Gordon-Levitt joined the cast as Jiminy Cricket. I don't think he has quite the adorableness that Jiminy Cricket usually has, but I think that he has certainly the right go-get-him personality. So I think that he's a great choice. And of course, he worked with Robert Zemeckis before on that World Trade Center mime movie, about the High Wire Act, which I have to tell you was actually pretty good. I actually really liked that movie, and I felt bad more people didn't see it. So, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, at least, is very happy for him. I am too, because he hasn't been getting a lot of work lately. So I'm thrilled that he's going to be doing that. So Joseph Gordon-Levitt will be Jiminy Cricket. That's fantastic. Cynthia Orevo is the Blue Fairy. I saw somebody point out that this is another race-bended fairy after Tinkerbell over in Peter Pan, which is also going to Disney+. But I think that this is great. I think, again, it's all about casting the right actress, and I think Cynthia Orevo really does glow as a person, and I think she makes for a great Blue Fairy. I think she'll be wonderful, the one who grants Pinocchio's wish. Or at least, gets him halfway there and then puts him on this test. So I think she's a very strong choice. Then Keegan Michael Key will voice Honest John. That's the fox that sweet talks Pinocchio into not going to school. So I think that's a great choice. I wonder who Stromboli will be, who's playing, who runs the puppet theater. And then Lorraine Bracco has been cast as a new character called Sophia the Seagull. So I guess Pinocchio is going to talk to somebody while he's in that whale. So I think this is pretty strong casting. I think it's, in fact, very strong casting. And this is how you get a broad appeal project these days, that you make sure you bring in the widest audience possible. We just talked about how Tom Jerry had a diverse and dynamic cast. And look at how it was rewarded at the box office and online. A lot of people tuned in. And so this really makes Pinocchio accessible. Nobody went to see Mary Poppins Returns because, it just wasn't accessible to the widest audience possible. Lin-Manuel Miranda didn't do what he was supposed to do. But I just think that this is a wonderful cast, and I think a lot of people, much more people would be interested in this now than they would have been if it had just been a straight remake. So what do you guys think? Are you interested in Pinocchio more so or less so with this cast, or about the same? And that's right, maybe Cynthia Erivo will get a song, which will be great. Hocus Pocus, you don't like Joseph Gordon-Levitt? That's crazy, Hocus Pocus. What did Joseph Gordon-Levitt do to you? Barbie Minaj is like, meh. George Alexander's in. A lot of you are still not in. Interesting. What's it going to take to get you in on this movie? Maybe you'll have to see the trailer. Scorpio Dan's also not into it. Interesting. I think it sounds great, but this is not a good sign for the movie that a lot of you aren't into it. I think it's great, and I think it's a really good sign of, really strong casting. I think it's going to be very good. All right, so that's the second story of the day. Now, the third story of the day, boom, baby, is that Terminator, it still isn't dead. You can't kill a Terminator, and you can't kill his franchise either. And that's also because it's owned by Skydance, Larry Ellison's son David Ellison's company. Remember, Megan Ellison went art house, David went blockbusters. And they've both struggled, to be honest with you. But Terminator is a wonderful property, and David Ellison just isn't going to let it go. He's like, this should be making money. So now he's licensed it to Netflix, which is going to do an animated series based on Terminator, which is in the early days of development. Now, this is going to be spearheaded. The showrunner will be Matt Tomlin, who did Project Power. Remember the Jamie Foxx movie that just recently came out with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, interestingly enough, where he would take a pill and you'd have a power for just a minute or something, or 60 seconds. Well, Matt Tomlin not only wrote that script, but he's also one of the writers on the upcoming The Batman from Matt Reeves. So, not a bad resume. So that makes me feel a little better about the project, but I think the Terminator has just been through the shredder so many times at this point, I think people really don't trust the brand. However, who's going to not turn on a Terminator animated series on Netflix? Everyone's going to pay attention to it, and if the trailer is even decent, I think a lot of people will watch it. So this is just yet another adult animated series that's coming around because it's just becoming so popular. So I'm happy about that, and I think this could be good, but I do feel like Terminator, whoa, can it be fixed? I mean, who here, would anyone not watch Terminator anime series? Portis2 says, why can't we create a new franchise instead of constantly recycling old ones? That's a great question, Portis2, and that's because a little something called brand recognition. If you have a new series, a new franchise, Michael's like, let it die. If you have a new franchise, it takes a lot of work and money to get people to introduce them to it and to make them maybe check it out. But if you have something that's a known brand, all you have to do is say Terminator, and it does a lot of the work for you. So that's why they keep bringing back these franchises. I'm so glad so many of you enjoyed Blood of Zeus. I was surprised at how good it was. I didn't expect it to be that good. So I'm really excited. Game of Thrones is thinking of doing an animated series. They just established Avatar Studios, which is going to do a whole lot more animation. Harley Quinn is recording season 3 as we speak. there's a lot going on. So very exciting stuff. All right, so those are the 3 stories of the day. Hold on. I wouldn't think my heat would turn on when the sun is shining directly on my window. Why does it feel that I need to be warmed up? All right, so anyway, it's 5:17. You can ask me anything you'd like until 5:27. And then I must go. Amy, I love Harley Quinn too. It's such a good show. Ryan says, Grace, what do you think about the fact that Cinemark isn't showing Raya? That's true. I saw that. And I had Madeline, I don't know if Pastor Madeline's here today, but she was like, I can't see it. It's not playing at the Cinemark near me. And she was really weirded out. Well, it turns out that was intentional because Cinemark said, oh, you want to pay $30 on your streaming service? Hey, Danny. Well, then we're not going to play the movie on our theaters. Now, the trades pointed out, well, they're playing the Warner Brothers movies, and that's because apparently Warner Brothers has done very favorable terms to playing their movies in theaters because they're showing it at no extra cost on HBO Max. Like, you get a little bit more money up front, stuff like that. Apparently, Disney didn't play that game, and they once again said, if you don't like the terms of our movie, then just don't play it in your theaters. And Cinemark, for the first time, and I believe some theaters in Canada as well, said, okay, then we won't play it. And I'm sure Disney was like, what? So we'll see how that works out for them. We'll see if it makes a difference to Disney. Disney might be like, it just takes somebody to push back, and then things maybe get changed. Oh, hey, Madeline. Yeah, Madeline is here. I think it's worth the $30, quite frankly. I mean, you probably would pay that for tickets, right? But I mean, you don't get the experience of going out. That's easy for you to say. Says, where did you get your shirt? Oh, thank you. I got it from a website called like Nora Cora. It's like made in China. It's like mass produced. It was very cheap, but it's one of the better purchases I've made. It's like, it bleeds down to white. And so if you're interested in it, I think it's called like Nora Cora. I got a couple shirts from there. Some of them didn't work out as well. So fair warning, but this one turned out great. But they're so cheap. It took a long time for it to come too, like over a month, but it's still okay. This is a medium. Let's see here. Christiana says, hey, Grace, are you going to do a Black Superman casting video? No, because I think that they're going to go for someone probably totally new, and I think they're probably going to cast it pretty soon. Also, I mean, I don't know. Let me think about it. I don't know enough about the movie that they're doing. I don't know which version of Superman it is. And I like to do casting videos when a project's really far away, but I feel like this is closer than we think. Let's see here. Jay Parnell says, do you think Wandavision will be an hour long without credits? The word on the street is that it's 50 minutes long. Now, in the past, and it's from a person who's leaked a number of things that have seemed to have come true. So they have a good track record, apparently. So 50 minutes would mean it's about 42 minutes without credits. So that's not very long. I'm nervous. I feel like, hey, David Stevenson, you know what I feel happened with WandaVision, and we'll discuss this once we see the final episode, but I feel having it air week to week created a window for us to kind of like go crazy. And I think that when you watch a movie, which is how we usually enjoy the MCU, you don't have time to come up with these other theories. And so I think we learned an important lesson, and I think Marvel did too. Brandon, why does your thing keep getting taken out? Brandon says, what do you want to see from the final episode of WandaVision? I would like to see a really satisfying ending for them to make witches work. And I would really like to see Evan Peters explained. If he's not Quicksilver from the X-Men, then I think that would have been a genuine mistake on the part of Feige. He doesn't really make mistakes, but I think this would be one of the rare ones. If Evan Peters isn't Quicksilver from the Fox X-Men movies, do you feel that would be a mistake, or you'd be like, okay? I have to wait for you to catch up to me. Jose's like, I'm fine with it. A lot of you are fine with it. Well, boy, Marvel can get away with anything. They even write in the subtitles that it's the X-Men, it's the Pietro from the Fox X-Men movies, and that you would still be okay with that? That's incredible. Good to know for my coverage. All right. Very interesting. Rodney says, hey, Grace, I didn't know you were a fan of America's Next Top Model. I was, and I also respect your decision not to do a Raya watch-along. That's very sweet of you, Rodney. I'm seeing it on Saturday. I'm going to watch it again, but I'm going to be just knee-deep in Wanda content. I'm not going to have, I need to unwind so that I can get back and do the next content, so it's just hard. And also, I got to tell you, I don't think anyone's paying for Raya. I think it's gonna go poorly for Disney Plus. I'm nervous about it because I'm nervous for what it would mean for Black Widow. I really want to see Black Widow do a split between theaters and Disney Plus. Let's see here. Danny says, any tea on Bullet Train? No, I haven't heard anything about Bullet Train, but I'm excited to see that come together. I think it's a really strong cast, obviously, and I think David Leitch is really perfectly picked to direct it. So I think that's going to be a really hot property. Let's see here. George Alexander says, Grace, do you think that this will discount Wanda as a mutant for good now? Yeah, it looks like they might be doing that, which I'm also curious to see how people will react to. People seem to be totally cool with whatever Marvel's doing. They're like, no X-Men, she's not even a mutant anymore. And people are like, awesome. So I'm like, okay, fine, all right, let's just keep moving. Chico says, do you see Raya as a Disney princess? Well, in the way that Pocahontas and Mulan are, and that, I think it's hard to be an official Disney princess in Merida if you don't have the dress and the animals that you talk to. I mean, she has tuk-tuk, but I don't think that she really fits the princess mold, which is why it was so important to give Tiana that ball gown. Tiana is very much a Disney princess. But I think she technically is a Princess Raya, but, I don't see her really fitting in with that brand. She doesn't have to, though. I hope she's really popular. I'm so scared that this movie's going to tank. I'm really nervous about it. Let's see. Portis, I did see that Keanu Reeves is writing a comic book, which is very interesting. I like that he was like, that sounds like a fun idea. Why not? I'm like, say yes to life, Keanu. I love it. Let's see here. Madeline says, when will we see more from Reeves' Batman? They're still shooting. It's taking forever to make that movie because of COVID. They're still filming. I heard that it takes really hours to do these little very tech heavy things. So they're still shooting. I hear it's incredibly good. So I think you'll probably see more from it. Maybe, it's been pushed to 2022 now, as you know. So you'll probably maybe see something. If they have another DC fandom, maybe you'll see more there. They should. I think, no word on if they're having another DC fandom, but I hope that they do. Comic-Con this year has been canceled once again, and it's been whittled down to a 3-day event, and I suspect no one will show up again. The question is, will Marvel have their own online event this year after DC fandom was so successful? That was a great event. That was really great. I loved it. Jose says, thoughts on WandaVision theories getting so out of control that now even the director is warning the finale might be disappointing. Yeah, that's what we've just been talking about. I do think that we learned, I think, again, as I said, we learned an important lesson and Marvel learned an important lesson. And I think for Falcon and Winter Soldier, we got to dial it down a lot. I think that it was more mysterious with WandaVision, and WandaVision was so out of character for Marvel, and that it had so many things that Marvel's usually not done. It was dark, it was depressing, it had romance. They never do any of that in the MCU. I think Falcon and Winter Soldier is more traditional, so I think maybe we'll be able to stay on track a little bit more. George says we should have learned from Game of Thrones. Well, that's unusual because Game of Thrones just was straight garbage. It was just straight garbage. The final season. Let's see here. Jerome says Golden Globes 60% ratings drop. Thoughts? It was just a disaster. I think the Oscars are probably shaking in their boots, their gold boots. I think you're going to see them really try some out of the box thinking with the Oscars to try and desperately get people to tune in. Because, it's a combination of having to Zoom people from home, and then also people just don't like the movies that are nominated. I'm curious if maybe the Golden Globes, though, was partially because of the scandal. I mean, the reason the Golden Globes has been so Teflon is because they have such high ratings. If they lose that, they'll just be another awards show. So that would be interesting. Alex says, what are your overall thoughts on Superman and Lois episode 2? I was shocked how the floor just seemed to fall out from underneath that series. It was so hot out of the gate, and then like no one cared in week 2. I really enjoyed it. It was a little hard to watch live tweeting it. I don't think I'm going to do that again. Also, because not that many people were watching it live. But it took me out of it a little bit. But I liked it. I thought it was interesting. It seems like it's going to be a bit of a slow burn, but I'm excited to see where it goes from here. I mean, I enjoy it still. I still think it was good. Let's see here. Mika keeps asking about Shazam too. I see this thing about Hawkgirl. I don't know. I mean, Shazam to me is such a crowded movie already with Shazam and all the Shazam kids. And, you know, I feel like having Hawkgirl come in there, it's just like, how? It doesn't make any sense to me. All right, so finally, what I want to do, it is time for me to go. Let me do a couple of shout-outs. So let me do some shout-outs, everybody. What are you doing? What are you up to? So I can say hi to you. Matt, I'm not ignoring you. Says, do you have any idea who the secret hero is at the end of Snyder Cut? Yes, I've already tweeted this to you. I've told you many times who it is. You already know who it is. I don't know why Vanity Fair did that. And I don't know why they didn't read the Vanity Fair article and say, edit that, please, because you're giving people the idea that there's someone else showing up. Waffles just ate a gross chicken sandwich from McDonald's. Hey, Caleb Davies, thanks for joining. I've never heard of McDonald's serving anything gross. I'm sorry that didn't work out. Alex DW is eating boiled eggs, going to rewatch Promising Young Woman. That's a funny snack. Hey, Joseph. She's drinking a fruit punch. I hope everything's good at your workplace. Let's see here. Hocus Pocus is making Texas cheeseburgers and Hyde Park fries. What? Did you make that up, or are those things that I don't know about? Let's see here. Michael is babysitting a puppy. Oh my God, what a great gig. Faisal is studying for my Intro to Cinema exam in Kuwait. Oh, that must be a great class. I love cinema studies. I'm sure you're having a wonderful time. Jico is chilling in his living room that we all love. Everybody, you blew the internet away with your living room. Let's see here. Let's see. Robbie Man is reading Children's Crusade for Billy. I love that. I saw one of you is getting ready for 3 a.m. Thomas Hastings. That's right, tomorrow at 3 a.m., the final episode. I hope you'll join me. It's going to be an incredible watch-along. I can't wait. Let's see here. Carlos is drinking iced peach tea. Ooh, delicious. Iced tea's really caught on. I'm so happy because I'm such a big iced tea drinker, and they have it so many places these days. It makes me very happy. Ari is procrastinating in London. Exanthus is starting The Crown in Calgary. You're going to love it. Are you like from the beginning? Ryan Griffin is just taking a break. I love it. You're just chilling. While Ben Green is playing Miles Morales on PlayStation in Birmingham, England. Great game, great character. Let's see here. What else is going on? Rodney Dollar says, nothing, just watching the stream on my phone and hope that Raya does well. Me too, Rodney. Me too. ES says, the finale, I won't be in the watch-along because I want to watch it with my best friend. Oh, that's excusable. I hope you and your best friend have a great time. Dax says, looking after neighbor's dog while in hospital. Oh, I hope your neighbor's okay, but your cat is not happy. That's funny. Lot of dog sitting going on here. Let's see. I just saw somebody was Ubering. Where did that go? Philippe Castillo is Ubering. Let's see here. Juan is binging The Walking Dead Season 9. Excellent. Dancing Dog 60 is setting up my special pirate box in London. Don't tell anyone. Shh. That's great. And then Jay King is rewatching all the WandaVision episodes leading up to the finale. You'll be all ready. All right, let me get going. You can join Eric and myself. I'll be tweeting that link shortly. It starts in half an hour. I think he does it like right before. So just keep an eye on Twitter. And then the next live stream will be tomorrow at 3 a.m. for WandaVision. All right.